Hello folks, this is Margie Roy from 3dcuts.com, and today I'm going to be doing the tutorial for the lobster shack that gets added to your Tea Light Village. This year, 2020, I have made two beach theme buildings to add to the village. The first is the lighthouse with keeper cottage, and the second is the lobster shack. Tea Light Village is a growing village with a number of buildings. I come out with a couple of new ones every year. Let's get started on the lobster shack. Before you begin, be sure to check out the online tutorial at the address shown on the screen. It's important that you do that for information about the papers I use, guide on cutting them, links to the different supplies, and also any new hints that I've discovered from people who have been making these. Let's get started putting it together. I've already cut out the pieces and I've stuck them onto an old mat just to prevent me from losing pieces. I'm going to start by making the building. And for the building, I need the large piece and I need the roof to begin with. There are more building pieces, but we'll get to those afterwards. I am going to be using Art Glitter Glue as my glue. It is my wet glue of choice. It dries clear and it dries quickly. I have transferred it to a little bottle with a tiny tip for this kind of project. There's a link to these on my website. I get them at Amazon and they are wonderful. So let's get started on the main building. The first step is to put window glazing in all of the windows. I use regular wax paper, but you can use any kind of translucent paper. Tracing paper will work, parchment paper. This is what I have. And basically you want to cover every window with something that is a little bit transparent. I like to light my Tea Light Villages and the light shining through them is just a little bit harsh. So I put glue around the window, I put the wax paper on it, and I lightly score it with my X-Acto blade and remove the excess. I will do that for all of the windows on this building. That hole is not a window. These windows are going to be tricky. You have to decide if you want them to open. And if you do, you're going to have to keep the wax paper positioned so that it doesn't go over the top or bottom or middle seam. So there's one side. I can probably get these two windows together if I get a good edge. There we go. We now have wax paper in all of the windows. The next step is the folding. You will fold to the inside, which is the side that has the wax paper, and every dotted line will fold in toward it. I use a dotted line because that's what my cutting machine does best, and it also works well in these projects. I just like the control it gives me. This fold for the shed roof goes the opposite direction, like that. You should fold in the door at this point. And if you want the windows to open, now is a time to do those front windows. I'm not sure that I want them open, but I might just open one for people to place their orders at the lobster shack, like that. Okay, there it is, all folded, set to go. I'm going to use Art Glitter Glue. It's going to go on this last tab at the end of the building. I will bring it around to the other side. I will align the bottoms and put it into place. Art Glitter Glue, you hold for 4 seconds, And then that's a pretty good hold at that point. You can use a pair of squeezy tweezers to help in some of the tiny locations if you want. Okay, that's holding well. Now I'll fold the roof back and I'm going to put glue onto these 2 tabs, the first eaves of the roof. Bring the roof up and squeeze. The next 2 tabs for the roof. And on the shed roof, there are 3 tabs. This long one that is on the roof side, and the 2 tabs on the top of the last walls here. You will thread that inside, pinch it on the inside, and then also pinch the side wall and the roof right there. Okay, there's the beginning of the building. We will now put the roof on. You will, let's see, the hole will line up with the hole, and that'll fold down, and this one will fold up like so, lining up the hole. To put the roof on, we will put glue on each of the roof panels, being sure to put it along the edges and then a little bit on the inside as well. Okay, start at the peak, line that hole up. Press into place on all sides. Now, this is the front of the lobster shack, and on the front side, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the awning over the windows. Here is the awning piece. It has a bunch of tabs. First of all of the scallops get pressed down. The back tab gets pressed away from me, and these all get pressed in the same direction. I start by putting a little bit of glue just on the tips, the corners of these 2 tabs. The back tab will go down and adhere to it. That makes the awning. The awning is going to be put right above the window here. And I can see that I need to snip out just a hair of the tab so it doesn't cover the window. I will try to take that out in the pattern before I send it out, so you don't have to do that step. Okay, let's line it up again and see. I am now going to put glue on this entire back tab, and I am going to glue it in place over the windows here. Take a look and make sure that the top of it is square with the building, and hold it in place. Okay, there is the awning. The next piece for the front windows is the plank below the windows, sort of a shelf. That's what this piece is for. There are a bunch of little fold lines here, and I'm going to fold on all of them in the same direction, and double ones on the tab at the end. It curls in. We're making a plank here. I want to put glue on the last tab of both of these ends here, right there and right there. And on the inside of this last board here, last plank, it will curl around itself. The little tabs at the end will make the ends and come back and close in on itself. This one came out, so I'm going to get a pointy tool and put it back in. This is very fiddly, but it comes out looking neat in the end. There we go. Keep squeezing it for that 4 seconds until the glue starts holding. Use your fingers to square it up a little bit as it's adhering. Now you want to put it on the front of the lobster shack under the windows with the seam side in so you don't see the seam. I'll put glue on this edge. I will take our ordering shelf and I will put it right there under the windows. Hold it square. And put that to the side while I go on to some of the other pieces. I'll let that glue a little bit. I am going to take the lobster. There are 2 parts to the lobster and work on that next. The part that looks just like a body is just that, and that goes behind, and this is just to give it a little relief on the side of the building. I will glue that to the back of the other lobster piece. Then I will put glue on the back of just the body part of the lobster so we can give the claws a little dimension. And we will put that here on the side of the lobster shack. Leaving the claws forward a little bit, we get a nice little dimension there for a sign. The next piece is the stovepipe. Okay, this piece is going to be the stovepipe. This is going to be the top. I pull this over the edge of my desk to give it a little bit of natural curl. That's just to let it help me. And then I'm going to start curling it as tightly as I can with cardstock. And once I've got it curved about that far, I'm far enough. This is extra that I'll cut off. It gives me a place to hold after I've glued it. I put a glue line there, and I bring this around and I hold it while it starts drying. I'm going to put that to the side with that and let those dry. While those are drying, I'm going to start making the picnic table. The picnic table is made up of 3 separate pieces. The base, the top, and the 2 benches. On the base, there is a folded line right here and another one right here that you will fold down to make the table. There is also one on each of these benches that will fold them in toward each other on both sides. Okay, underneath one of these side benches at the center tab, you will put glue on it and you will bring it over and glue it onto the other side bench from the other side. You want it to be square as you're doing this, so bring them together and squeeze them. Do the same on the other side. Doesn't matter which one's on top or bottom. Okay, here is the base for the picnic table. I will now put glue on this bench And one of the planks that is the bench will get centered on top of that, overhanging each end equally and glued in place. Repeat that on the other side. Glue all along the bench. Take the plank here, line it up, and glue it in place. Then put glue on the planks at the top here. Take the top of the picnic table and line those up so they match. Press in place. There you go. Isn't that an exquisite little picnic table? You'll make 2 of those to go out in front of the lobster shack. You can make additional ones to put around your town if you'd like. Okay, let's go back to the smokestack pipe now. That's dry. I'm going to take scissors and I'm going to cut this tab off right in next to it. I don't need it anymore, like so. This is going to get put in the hole. And if it's a little too big, you can just work it down. That'll help hold it in place, like so. Then, this little round piece with the pie shape out, you put a little bit of glue on that pie corner, and you curl this around and overlap it, and get your tweezers to hold that in place for the 4 seconds. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the top of the smokestack, the cap. Put glue here on the top of the smokestack, and then put the little cap on top. There we go. The lobster shack with a smokestack. There are 3 more pieces left, interestingly shaped. Here we go. These are to create lobster buoys. There is the long end with a little dotted seam there, and you are going to fold that over. Then you're going to unfold it and put glue in the center of it. Fold it again. Now I am using the concept of paper beads, rolled paper beads, to make these lobster buoys. And there's a shape here, and I want glue over the whole thing. And then I'm going to start tightly rolling it around that stem that I just created. It should stay even on the stem side, the top, and start going up on the bottom side. That will make the bottom of the buoy a rounded point at the bottom, like a lobster buoy is. And the top is flat. So here we go, keep rolling. All the way to the end, and then hold it tight. And there we have a miniature lobster buoy. I'm going to make 3 of them and glue them onto the front of the cottage here to decorate it. Okay, there's my 3 little buoys. I am going to put 1 on this side, put some glue there, take one of them, put the seam side in toward the building, put it in place and glue it so it's hanging out. And I'm going to put 2 more over here under the eaves by the lobster. And I'm going to put that to the side and let it dry for a little while. And that is all of the parts for the Lobster Shack. What a darling little addition to Tea Light Village. Here is the complete Tea Light Village as of 2020, including the new lighthouse and lobster shack. It is shown here with the new narrow line bases for mantel display. Go to the address shown on the screen to view many creative displays by many other crafters using these files. Thanks for watching and happy crafting, everyone.